Welcome back into Soul Plus Systems. I'm Jenn Fix, and every week we sit down with people who don't simply survive life, they rebuild it. Because around here, we believe transformation isn't luck, it's built through systems. And sometimes those systems are business, sometimes they're your mindset, and sometimes they're your boundaries, and sometimes they're the systems that we build inside ourselves after years of living for everybody else. Today's conversation is one I think so many people are going to recognize themselves in. What happens when you're the one who always takes care of everyone else? And what happens when you spend years trying to earn love by becoming everything everyone else needs? And what happens when you finally decide, I am choosing me? Our guest today is the founder of Nessa's Safe Space, where she helps people rediscover themselves after years of people pleasing, unhealthy expectations, and losing sight of who they really are. We're going to talk about boundaries. We're going to talk about healing, late neurodivergent discovery, breaking generational cycles, and learning that protecting your peace isn't selfish, it's necessary. Janessa, welcome to Soul Plus Systems.
Hello. How are you, Jen?
I am great. It is an honor to have you on the show. And Janessa, before we dive into everything, for everyone meeting you for the first time, tell us who you are today.
Yes. So, number one, I'm a human being at 28 years old. I am obviously the founder of Nessa Safe Space, but more importantly, I'm someone that chose themselves after just years of chaos. My favorite things to do on a recreational level, I love to do Pilates. I am getting into more creative things from just crocheting to painting and all that fun stuff. And I'm
All the
really
fun stuff.
starting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Your application, you immediately stood out to me out of hundreds of applicants because you describe yourself as a recovering people pleaser.
Yeah.
What does that phrase mean to you today?
I applaud myself for being able to just say no and have boundaries with that without feeling the guilt initially. When I started saying no, it felt weird initially because I was like, I've never said no. I've always been a sure, yes, whatever. So for that, I was like, oh my God, growth.
I hear you there. I was a caregiver for a long time in my life to my mom and my grandmother, so I can totally relate about being a people pleaser and doing all that you can and thinking it's just not enough. You also mentioned being the oldest daughter and carrying
Yes.
responsibilities that were never really even yours. How did those
Yes.
expectations shape the person that you became?
At that time, I was a second mom, what they would call a parentified daughter, caring for siblings, doing household stuff. And today, there are moments where I really do have to check myself because I have to kind of just sit still, even when I see things around my home that could be done or want to be done. So for me, it's more so just I have to take a step back and say, this is part of my healing journey. We don't have to do this. Just because it needs done doesn't mean that I should do it or I must do it. So kind of lowering those expectations that were put on me that I conditioned myself to put on myself. So it's been a wild ride, but also at the same time, there's been moments where I'm like, oh my God, I'm actually able to relax and not come home from a day and be like, oh my God, I have to do this and that and the other. It can get exhausting after a while if you don't check
Yeah,
yourself.
it's like that repetitive cycle. It's like I've been there.
Yeah.
I've definitely have lived that. So I understand that world, like where you just spiral and the further you
Yes.
spiral, the harder it becomes. And it's one day you kind of get a hold of yourself and you're like, aha. At what point did you realize that you've been living for everybody else instead of yourself? Was there that one defining moment that you had?
Definitely a defining moment where I clearly saw just the unspoken expectations, but also the verbal expectations combining. as well as the fact that I couldn't physically relax. So for me, it was like, I need to relax and let my body know we don't have to do this. So those three things in the mix, I was like, yeah, no, we need to make some changes, some lifestyle changes.
Yeah, nervous system, the whole nervous system reset, and even the conversations revolving around nervous system has just been like brand new over the last couple of years, I would say. Again, I can completely identify with you because for myself, I was always hyper vigilant, always waiting for that moment to happen, being on guard all the time,
Literally.
and just having the armor and keeping my cards tied to my chest, right? Which I still do. Don't get it
Yeah.
twisted, right? But like you
Yeah.
said, being able to, at the end of the day, relax, tell your system you're safe, stand down, and to be able to give yourself that credit because that knowledge really is power.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's one of those things where it's not a straight line. There's going to be days where you fall back, and there's days where it's like, I'm moving forward. So it's just that compassion and grace is so important in that healing journey.
Absolutely. Compassion and grace and being thankful and
Yes.
grateful. I wake up every morning and I'm grateful to be able to have this platform, to be able to share my journey, to have guests, amazing guests like yourself. One thing that really caught my attention from your writing, you said, not every action deserves a response. And that is
Yes.
such a powerful sentence. I had to learn that one the hard way. So I'm just curious, what taught you that lesson?
So the latest one involved just the unrealistic expectations of some unhealthy people coming to my area to visit. And I did not co-sign that. I was not okay with that. And that ultimately led to basically just an issue, a verbal issue. And the response I got ultimately was a lot. And I was like, okay, I don't need to respond to that because I knew at some point it was not going to progress to anything more positive. And I've also learned that there's just moments where people just they commit themselves to misunderstanding you. So for me, it's like that silence is just my way of telling you this is what it is. Sit with it if you choose to. If you choose to.
Absolutely. I can, everything that you're saying, I so resonate with because it's like I had to learn to become contained to a
Yeah.
degree so that I can just keep it moving some days.
Yeah. Not
And
everybody wants to understand you, and it's okay.
it is okay. I've said it a million times on here that I'm not for everybody, and I'm okay with that.
Yes. Yes.
You openly talk about discovering that you are neurodivergent later in life. How did that diagnosis change the way that you viewed your past?
I say probably what this past January was when all the things officially was on paper, and me looking at the past and how I was personality wise, socially, I was like, oh my God, it makes a lot of sense. So there was a lot of haha moments, but then of course, just knowing that no one really said, hey, maybe we should make sure she's okay on a psychological level. It did bring up a lot of grief, anger for sure. And it just kind of put in perspective of where I was in the family tree. The hard truth of not being considered really was like bold and centered on paper. I was like, "Okay, got it. I really need to relearn me now." I'm like reinventing my wheel now in a
And
sense.
that's exactly what we're all about on Soul Plus Systems. Do
Yes.
you think that many women spend years believing that something is really wrong with them when really they
Yes.
simply haven't been understood?
Yes. And not because from a patriarchal standpoint, I think just how society expects us to be when it comes to motherhood and parenthood and what we want to do as human beings. I really think that a lot of that plays a part in that. And it takes time for us to be like, all right, I need to really figure out what I want and what I love to do and what I want to do for myself.
Yeah, someone listening today may know that they're exhausted, but they don't know who they are anymore. Where would you tell them to begin at?
I would probably go to the root of that exhaustion, basically asking open ended questions as to, okay, when you're doing a task or if you feel like you're managing someone's emotions outside of yours, do you feel exhausted that way? What type of exhaustion are we talking about? Mental, emotional, physical, all of the above? All of the above is fine. I've been there. I'm still there in some ways. But it's just the root cause of meeting them there because
Yeah,
not everybody has
definitely. You
the
have to get to that
answers.
root cause in order to be able to identify it for yourself, in order to
Yeah.
have that self realization. And once you have that self realization, I always say, once I see it, I can't unsee it. So let's
Literally.
get real for a minute, right? People talk about peace. Everybody wants it, but very few
Yes.
people seem to have it.
Yes.
What does inner
Yes.
peace actually look like in your daily life?
Just inner peace for me is more so making sure that I'm not only supporting myself, but my environment is supporting me too. And my social life is also supporting me. And if it's not, then okay, what do I need to adjust or what do I need to let go of? And just there's times where I have to put my phone on do not disturb because social media can be a lot. Protecting
Yeah,
my on a
I can
physical
relate. I
level.
can relate. Trust me on that one. I got 2 groups and a few
Yes.
pages, and I'm just like, woo, okay, yes, it is a lot.
It could
Hey,
be a
looking
lot.
back, if you could sit beside the younger version of yourself, the one who is trying to earn everybody's approval, what would you tell her?
Number one, I would give her just the biggest hug because she really did try her best at that time. But also, I would tell her repeatedly, you don't have to do that. Just because that's what they want of you, you do not have to do that. And just really just be her cheerleader, be someone that it promotes that inner world encouragement, that inner world growth. She was on the back burner for so long. It's like she needs a hug. Let her get a massage. You know what I'm saying? Just some self care, general
Self
self
care,
care.
self love, and self care. Always,
Yes.
always talk about that. Always. When people finish watching today's episode, what is the one thing that you hope stays with them long after this conversation ends?
There's plenty of things, but the main thing I will say is to really check in with yourself and say, what do I want? What do I need at this given moment? It can be any time of the day too. Really check in with yourself because with day to day, it's easy to just forget, oh, I should probably drink some water. Did I eat today? For the people that are spiritual, did I light my sage this morning? Just
Amen.
simple little things that make a huge impact. Really check
Yes.
in.
Yes, yes. I'm speaking your language with the sage. I'm a sage fan myself too. Absolutely. Now, if somebody wanted to connect with you on your story today, where can they find you? Tell everybody about Nessa's safe space, your social media, your podcast, and anything exciting that you have coming up.
Yes, with my basically reinventing of myself, I had to restructure the business in a good way. There's been a lot of organization that was much needed. So Instagram is you can just put in my name, Janessa Neighbors, I'll pop up and all the things are there. My business card, my Facebook page, all that. It's just easier to have it all there for people to kind of explore and navigate.
Thank you so much, not just for sharing your work, but for sharing your story. I think conversations like this remind us that healing isn't about becoming someone new. Sometimes it's about remembering who you were before life convinced you to become somebody else. And that's a powerful place to begin rebuilding. If today's conversation spoke to you, don't keep it to yourself. Share it with somebody who needs to hear it. If you're watching on YouTube, be sure to subscribe because every week we're bringing you conversations on Wednesdays and Saturdays that help you build stronger lives, stronger businesses, and stronger systems. And if you're listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, follow the show so you never miss an episode. Until next time, remember this: enter the vault if you dare, and your story may explain where you've been, but your systems will determine where you're going. I'm Jenn Fix. This is Soul Plus Systems, and we'll see you in the next one.